Hello, my fellow religious students and my fellow, Bible lovers. So once when you develop interest in knowing more about the Bible, you're also a biblical scholar. So we are going to be talking about the Gospel according to Mark, which is the literature and theology of Saint Mark, which I started with us a few weeks ago. And I was able to talk about the general introduction to the course, and at the same time talk about the authorship, since we are doing a kind of literary, carrying out a kind of literary appreciation. So I talk about the authorship, whereby we're able to talk about the internal evidence and the external evidence and internal evidence. External evidence are the traditional view of Mark with the author, so whereby we're able to see annotation by peers. We also see some other early church fathers like from Antimational Prologue. We also have Irenaeus, we have Clement of Alexandria that give two statements, and we also have Tertullian, Origen, we have Jerome in his commentary on Matthew. All these no discussions, all this evidence shows that Mark was the writer of the book itself. We also talk about the internal evidence. And it is stated that there is no direct mention of the name of Mark being the author. So how do we get to know this now? How do you now get to know that Mark wrote the book? So that is what calls for a careful analysis of the book. So from there we're able to see some characteristics, because from the external evidence, all of them states that Mark was an interpreter of Peter, and definitely he reproduced the preaching of Peter. So if that's the case, so then we must be able to see the characteristics of Peter, eyewitness, witness, because Mark was not an eyewitness. He was not a disciple of our Lord in flesh. He could not follow Christ. He did not follow Christ in flesh. So from there, we could see that we can link that to the connection of Peter in it. So though we are still going to talk about Peter's connection arguments, there's an argument on that too. So from there, that's where we come up with the first topic title, the first point of internal evidence, which is Petrine characteristics. Peter being the eyewitness witness, Peter being impulsive, someone that you know that have these that show a quick emotion, that is so emotional, and someone that that is full of action, that wants a quick response and all that. In that's who Peter is. You want to look for, ask the question to the last, to the point of getting the answer. So we are going to see in that. So we also have the use of Aramaic words. So we also have Roman characteristics that is based on the destination of the book. So where is the book going to? We are the receiver, who are the audience. So then you must communicate in the language which the audience will understand. So that is Roman Catholic. And I told you that Roman Catholic, sorry, not Roman Catholic, the Roman characteristics. So which means that the Romans actually, they were people who glorified action over this intellectual pursuits, like unlike Greek people. So we also have the use of Latin words and all. And the last one is a strange story in Mark 14:51. It is only recorded by Mark. So without wasting our time, let's talk about the author of the book now. Who is Mark? Who is this Mark that we're talking about? Who is this Mark? So now the name Mark actually was mentioned 10 times in the New Testament. It was mentioned 10 times in the New Testament. So, and his surname was John. That is his Hebrew name, Jewish name. There was this tradition there. So there is this argument on Paul being Saul. Some pastors will say that when Paul became Christian, he changed his name from Saul because Saul was not good. Mind you, from the etymology of the word Saul, Shahul, it means desired. So it's not a bad day. So, but it was a tradition to due to the society. So now he had his Jewish name, and he also had his Roman name, which is Paul, which is Paulos, and Paulos is Greek. So since that was it, no, the popular language then. So and Shaul as his Jewish name. Same applicable to Mark too. So John is his Jewish name. So while Mark is his Roman name. So Mark is Marcus. So that is why it is called Johannes Marcus. So Johannes Marcus. So why in the book of Acts of Apostles, so yeah, he is twice referred to as simply John. In the book of the whole book of Acts of Apostles is referred to as John 2 times, which is stated or recorded in chapter 13 verse 5 and 13 to 13 of Acts of Apostles, and was referred to as is referred to as Mark once in Acts of Apostles chapter 15:39, called it referred to as simply John 2 times in Acts of Apostles, and as Marcus 1 time. So and 3 times as John, whose surname was Mark. As John, whose surname was Mark. You can find it in Acts of Apostles chapter 12:12, chapter 12:25, chapter 12:36. So referred to as John, whose surname is Mark 3 times. Don't forget, as John, simply John, which is his Jewish name 2 times in Acts of Apostles, as Mark once, and which is his Roman name, and as John, whose surname was Mark 3 times. So and in the epistles, there's a difference between epistles and the gospel. In the epistles, so he's simply called Mark or Marcus. Marcus, according to KJV, King James Version of the Bible. So you have that in Philippians 24, Colossians 4:10, to 2 Timothy 4:11, and 1 Peter 5:13. So, and let's get to know more about this man. And we'll give you more points. One more point. But before you go there, don't forget that he's mentioned 10 times in the New Testament. His name is mentioned 10 times. And don't forget that John is his Jewish name, and Mark is his Roman name, which is Marcus. So that is that, and he is mentioned 2 times. He is simply referred to as John 2 times in Acts of Apostles, as Mark once in Acts of Apostles, and as John, whose surname is Mark, and was Mark 3 times in Acts of Apostles. Likewise, in the epistles, is simply called Mark or Marcus. So in the next video, I will conclude this class, which is I want to give us additional point on this man. So what are his relationship with the Bible? What are his relationship with some of the apostles like Peter and Paul, and the church, the early church in general? So stay tuned. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned and like and subscribe and comment. Thank you.